If you love to travel and want the IRS to pay for it, you've probably seen all the social media influencers who say you can do just that by forming a board of directors for your business with your family members. In fact, you may have paid one of them to execute this strategy, which was advertised as an advanced, proprietary, ingenious way of beating the IRS at their own game. That's right. Your tax influencer might have just outsmarted the IRS, Congress, Treasury, and tax court with a simple one-page piece of paper putting your family on your board, or you might have just paid for shit in a bag. So in this video, we'll go through the actual tax law so you can find out what is truly required to protect a business travel deduction when it involves a family member. And if you don't know me, I'm Jasmine DiLucci. I'm having way too much fun with these videos because you can fight me on this, but tax law is fun. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and enrolled agent. My day-to-day is actually running my CPA firm and my tax law firm, but I started posting on social media after a decade of practicing tax because real tax help with actual tax law should be available to everyone. So we typically see social media tax influencers do a minimal amount of research by at least reading the statute and then coming up with their own made-up conclusion. However, we have hit an all-time low when it comes to travel, where social media influencers just don't even read the statute. So here it is. It's IRC 274M3, which applies to business travel for companions, which doesn't include everyone, but it does specifically include your spouse and dependents. To be very clear, in this video, I'm assuming you've already met the requirements for having business travel in the first place, because if the travel is not deductible business travel, then adding your companion is also not deductible business travel. So we assume you have deductible business travel. Then to deduct business travel for a companion, the statute says, no deduction shall be allowed under this chapter for travel expenses paid or incurred with respect to a spouse, dependent, or other individual accompanying the taxpayer or an officer or employee of the taxpayer on business travel unless A, the spouse, dependent, or other individual is an employee of the taxpayer. Important to note, board of director positions are not W-2 positions. They are oversight roles paid through 1099. B, the travel of the spouse, dependent, or other individual is for a bona fide business purpose. We'll talk about what that means from tax court cases directly. And C, such expenses would otherwise be deductible by the spouse, dependent, or other individual. So let's first state the obvious, which is that putting someone on your board of directors doesn't matter. In fact, it is in opposition of the statute because a board of director position is not a W-2 employee position. Instead, the spouse or dependent is required to be a true W-2 employee, which means you actually filed a W-2 for the person. The person in that role is in a W-2 employee position, and the person does real work that's reasonable in return for the amount of wages received. And two, the person is doing necessary, not just helpful work for the business on that trip specifically, with that definition of bona fide business purpose coming straight from tax court. And three, the travel would be deductible by the spouse or dependent, even if you weren't there. So at this point, I get the classic response, but Jasmine, I just slapped my entire family on payroll and problem solved. My wife and kids socialize with my business associates, bada bing, bada boom, I'm a creative genius, and the IRS won't know what to do. Plus, I've got this cool piece of paper that says they're on my board. But like so many of those before you who ended up in an IRS audit and in the middle of tax court, you would be wrong. We have a lot of court cases in this area that tell us the type of work that meets the definition of bona fide business purpose because we have decades of people trying the same stuff. This board of directors thing is just new lipstick on the same pig. Instead, we look to court cases which clearly tell us the work activities that should be done on the business trip to protect the travel deduction with a family member. So let's get into the rule that we can extract from all of the court cases. Remember, you still have to meet parts 1 and 3 of the statute, right? So true employee. And the third was it would be deductible even if you weren't there, which includes that the trip itself is primarily business purpose. But what about number 2? What is a bona fide business purpose? Tax court cases tell us the definition. The work was not incidental or merely helpful, but necessary to the business conducted. So here's what activities fall on each side of the line based on court cases, so you can see the type of activity that your family member would need to do to meet this part of the statute. Tax court has found that the following work activities are merely helpful and not necessary. The first is a spouse as a bookkeeper and note taker on the trip, as well as someone who helped entertain the business vendors in attendance. 2 is a spouse who attended business conventions to be a partner in the dances and receptions, as well as act as a hostess for the wives of the other members. Third, a spouse who socialized with business associates when there was a company policy of sending wives to the convention. The court said, although the conventions were predominantly attended by couples, we think that those who attended without spouses were just as effective as the others. And the fourth is a spouse who assisted with secretarial work and socialized to help promote sales with clients. The court said, we do not know the extent of the secretarial work she did for her husband. So takeaways from these cases. First, socializing and secretarial work is typically not viewed as necessary for business travel. The second is company policy requiring spouses to travel doesn't control whether it's deductible. The third is the activity is presumed to be incidental and not necessary unless you prove otherwise. Okay, the taxpayers in all of these cases kept their explanations of the social or administrative activity lacking real detail on how it significantly and directly impacted the business, so the courts found that it wasn't necessary. So, what work activities has tax court found are necessary? The first is a spouse who was the CFO of the business and went on the trip to occupy the display booth at a trade show, talk about the product, meet clients, learn about the market, and solicit new business. The second is a spouse who promoted the public image of the company by attending luncheons, dinners, receptions, film screenings, press conferences, and on goodwill visits. The corporate policy insisted that the spouses attend the business trips to enhance the company's image. Note that this was not a closely held business with a public image concern. This was Mr. and Mrs. Disney of Walt Disney Productions, and the taxpayer in this case was Walt Disney's older brother. The third is a spouse who was required to attend the business convention to assist with developing and renewing personal contracts with other bankers. The spouse planned the convention activities, and the court emphasized that the employees and spouses who benefited from the travel deduction owned less than 5% of the stock, and the reimbursements were provided without regard to whether the employee was also an owner of the business. So takeaway from these cases, the first is if your spouse is an active officer or employee of the business and the court believes that the spouse is doing real work, it should be considered necessary by the court. The second is there is a level at which extensive detail and support showing the business significance behind activities of a social nature can rise to the level of necessity. But it's typically in the context of when the business is not closely held, since as courts have stated time and time again, they say the transactions of closely held, exclusively family businesses must be subjected to close scrutiny, otherwise the opportunity for abuse would be great. So what would you need to do to safely deduct business travel expenses for a spouse or dependent? One is make them a W-2 employee of the business, goes without saying, that does actual work in an employee position. Two is to make sure on the business trip that the spouse or dependent is documenting in detail the performance of their necessary work, which I would say just don't make the work primarily social or admin work, make it substantive and specific to your business. Third, the travel still has to meet the regular requirements of business travel. So most importantly, that the trip is primarily business purpose. If your family does personal activities while on the trip, that impacts whether the trip is deductible for them, even if they also do substantive business activities. And maybe you think a piece of paper putting your family on the board is helpful in meeting these requirements. Personally, I would tell you that you are literally documenting the fact that your family member is paid only in a non-employee capacity. I think it does nothing for you at best, and potentially it's support against you at worst, but it is certainly not enough. And if you want more actual tax law and more detail on deducting business travel, then join my free actual tax law community where you get free tax help, free IRS strategy, free monthly workshops, and a community board for free tax Q&A, because real tax help with actual tax law should be available to everyone, and because I love this shit. And as always, for actual tax law from a tax attorney, subscribe.